against any, I'm not against any of the people, I'm just against what's going on. I know it doesn't, but you do it, I'm not. See the process.
You want to start here, Joe?
You're here for a course, so we're going to say.
I'm good right now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Lay,
Present.
Councilmember Hartle,
Here.
Councilmember Womack,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Morganelli.
He's not council yet.
Oh,
Not sworn.
forget that. I didn't call you.
A little early.
Mayor Wynkoop.
Here. All right. Let's go ahead and let's go sit there now.
Swear in.
And we'll go ahead and call pick the names and all that. We'll swear everybody in. You want to get sworn in first, Carol?
Sure.
Come on up.
It's not often a W gets to go first.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Carol Womack,
I, Carol Womack,
a citizen of the state of Florida
a citizen of the state of Florida
and of the United States of America,
and of the United States of America,
and being employed by
and being employed by
or an officer of
or an officer of
and a recipient
of public funds
of public funds
as such officer or employee
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States and of the state of Florida.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Come on up, Joe. Test, test.
Raise your right hand. I, Joe Morganelli,
I, Joe Morganelli,
a citizen
a citizen
of the state of Florida
of the state of Florida
and of the United States of America,
and of the United States of America,
and being employed
and being employed
by
by
or an officer of
or an officer of
and a recipient
and a recipient
of public funds
of public funds
as such employee
as such employee
or officer
or officer
do hereby
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida.
and of the state of Florida.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, we're gonna pick a name, pick a number now. How we pick the seats is, it's randomly picked a number out of the, a cup, so that I don't choose the seats where they sit, they choose them. Makes it a lot fairer, so they don't feel like they're shoved off in the corner.
That way or that way?
Huh?
One is that way or that way?
One's there.
Every year.
Hey, Carol. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they switched, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Jim Peacock was sitting here before you. All righty. Hey, Jim, do you feel like doing a prayer tonight? Or Alan?
Okay.
You want to do it? Okay.
This is an all standing. You'll join me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this congregation. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for all the blessings that you've wreaked upon this town, its staff. I want to thank the staff personally, and Lord, through you. Fine recent events that we've had went off so well without anybody being injured or hurt. Thank you, Lord, for everything that you've given to us, and for also for the dinner you provided for us tonight. And in the name of your Son, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All righty. Start out. All right, now we got to pick our vice mayor for the year. And we try to make sure everybody gets a chance at this. So I personally was going to nominate Carol. If anybody else wants to nominate somebody, go ahead. Okay,
I'd like to nominate Carol.
okay,
Well, I was going to nominate Mr. Hartle.
okay. He's already been.
Yeah, but you're new.
Yeah, you
You don't have that many
gray.
gray hairs yet.
Oh, I do.
And by the way, I'm not feeling good, so you gotta do the meeting.
Yeah, no, just stay on your desk and I'll stay on mine.
No, you gotta do the meeting.
No,
The meeting.
there's nothing wrong with you right now.
All right.
You're here.
Okay, let's move on to citizens. Anything from the
Mayor,
citizens?
could we get a vote on the vice mayor, because they do got
Oh,
signed
I'm
for the
sorry.
checking account?
Yeah, we need a formal vote. Everybody in favor to say aye for
Aye.
Carol? Against, say nay. Okay, ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to anything that anybody wants to talk to the council about that's not on the agenda. Come on up.
I guess I'll start it off. Randy Ellman, 16603 Lowry Road, Montverde, Florida. I was very concerned. Let me ask a couple questions just to refresh my memory. How do these resolutions get on the agenda? Who puts them on there?
I
We-
guess.
We actually talk about it, and then I have Paul put them on there.
Yeah, I mean, generally they go through me and the mayor.
If I remember correctly, the last meeting, we discussed using the money from the county for improving the septic tanks of people on the lake, you know, and there was a time limit on that. How come that's not on this agenda?
Because there's no action required at this point to put it on the agenda. We have to have an action to put it on the agenda. They
I
already-
thought we were discussing that last, you know, that's the impression I got, and I talked to several of the town people, and that was their impression.
I'm going to plan on covering it in the staff report, when I do my staff report.
Okay, well, there is a time limit on that, you know,
I'm well aware of it, sir.
okay.
I got clear instructions from the council, and we're taking care of it.
Okay, so in other words, we're going to use that money and not have to send it back?
We're going through the process. That is our goal, yes.
Well, are we going to, we're not, it'd be foolish to send it back and not get anything for it.
Yeah, that's the instruction the council gave us, so we're working through it. There's a lot of legal stuff we have to do. There's agreements we have to amend, so we're working on
So
this.
we're going to have a special town council to approve that?
Again, I'll cover that in my staff report. We could go this back and
You're
forth
gonna-
forever.
you're gonna
I
do
plan
the-
on covering it later.
Tonight?
Yes,
Okay, so we'll have answers on it tonight?
yes.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, Randy. And who's next?
Good evening, council and new council members. Wayne Meadows, 16401 Magnolia Bluff Drive in Montverde. Just, we haven't hit it yet, but down in section 4 of the October finance report, got an off balance again. The ending balance is off by about $575.50. Want to run a calculator on it. You might want to double check it again.
I'm sorry, say it again.
You got an incorrect balance, ending balance on your October finance report. It's off by $575.50.
It is. Which
Run,
page?
it's the October finance report, section 4. That,
I got it right here. Which, do you have page number?
no, it's, well, page 2 in the agenda, but
Okay. No, not on the agenda. This right here, you don't have this?
no, sir.
Oh.
Just running the numbers and just,
Is that from the 8,972,242.36 is off?
actually, the ending balance before the grant clearing account, the 4,868,315.17 is actually 4,868,890.61.
Oh, really? Okay, so the first, what, 6 lines add up to something different?
Correct.
Okay.
Just wanted to bring it to the attention.
No, thank you. How much
Thank you.
difference was it?
575.50.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'll get our finance director and get that corrected. What the issue was last time is the pending liabilities that haven't cleared for the month before the statements were due is where the mix-up was. So I'll check and get you guys back a report and see where that money is. So
But now you're saying that these numbers here don't add up to that number there. So
That's correct.
what are you saying?
it's pending liabilities that haven't cleared. Last time, I don't know what this one is. I need to look at it. But the last month, it did match when she did it. It was the pending liabilities that haven't cleared the checking account for when the check was written and when the month switched, it didn't get transferred over.
No, I understand that, but he's saying these numbers here don't add up
That's
to
what
that.
caused it last time. So I'll have to look at it this time
okay.
and see what's going on there.
Okay.
If you could let us know what
No,
happened.
thank
Bring
you.
it to your attention.
Thank you.
Bob Tomlinson, 16634 Magnolia Terrace, Montverde, Florida. Basically, what I wanted to kind of find out about is, and I'm concerned mainly on cleaning up the lakes that are surrounding our particular town. So to try to prevent the pollution that's going into those particular lakes. So first thing I wanted to bring out was I wanted to get a better understanding of the storm runoff going into the lakes. Do we still have storm runoff running directly into any of our water or our lakes or anything like that within the town?
Yeah, Lake Florence, we have a plan for Lake Florence's park. The way we had that set up for a million years, that's all going to be changed out. Can you go through that in your staff report?
Yeah, I could cover a little bit in the staff report, but I would say the majority of the town probably runs off into the lake without being caught in stormwater.
Majority, and so we really don't have a real strong storm runoff, preventing it going into the lakes, having some kind of
Just 'cause
retention
of the age
area.
of the town, it was pre-water detention. So
Understood.
everything on 455 runs directly into the lake. Everything on this side of the town runs into the lake. There's no detention or any place to hold it back or filter it before it goes in. So obviously Mag Terrace has detention. The new subdivision does, but that's about it.
All right. With that said, then, obviously we have an issue regarding the stormwater runoff going into our lakes, and we know that that is from the DEP and also the EAP, that is one of the major problems with the pollution that's going into our lakes, is that itself. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to see the government here within our town to be able to put together some form of a really strong bid to be able to get grants, to be able to get those particular items rectified to where it prevents us. And I'd like the council to kind of really champion on that, because that is a major issue. What we're all trying to do is to clean up the lakes within our town area, and also to show that our town is really trying to be really clean and green for all the other towns that are around that have all the lakes. That's one. The other thing I'm concerned about also, and please understand, this is not a bash to any of the lakefront owners, but if you put, it's just common sense. If you put granular fertilization down on the lakefront properties, they're all sloping down into the lake. When it rains, all of that granular fertilization just rolls right down, and it again goes and pollutes the lakes as well. All right, so I'd like the council to kind of champion that as well. And my thought is to actually, instead of having granular, or maybe doing an ordinance to eliminate granular fertilization for lakefronts, to have liquid fertilization, because liquid fertilization goes right down into the roots and doesn't flow all the way into the lakes, but the granular will go down there. It's something that I'd like for the council, the new council, and the new people on the council and the council to kind of look at and try to clean that up. That will, I think, really be a big thing. The stormwater runoff and also the fertilization and granular will really help our lakes in our town. Thank you.
Thank you. And Bob and council, just so you know, about 9 months ago, the council approved a vulnerability study that our engineers, Woodward and Kern, got a grant for, and that does exactly that. It evaluates the town and looks for potential stormwater projects so we can apply for future grants. And I'll also have some additional information about some grants during my staff report.
Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else? All right, let's move on. Let's go ahead and start with you, Paul, and your report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I first want to start by thanking all the staff, the town hall team, for all their work on Montverde. On average, most of them worked about 30 hours over to pull Montverde off. So really appreciate them, and want to thank all the volunteers, council members, volunteers that helped out. But a particular shout out to YWAM that gave us about 30 volunteers to help with parking. And then a shout out to Claudia, my wife Kathy, who honestly worked really hard. I mean, 2 full days of 12-hour days to make Montverde happen. So I really do appreciate them, and I know it would be very hard to pull it off without them. So hope everybody enjoyed Montverde and had fun with that. Next, I wanted to update you that we had our hydro tank, which is our older well over here. We had that serviced and cleaned last week. Everything looked really good on that. As was brought up at a prior meeting, one side of the water tower lights are not working. We had a service company come out and look directly at the electrical, and basically the electrical going up there is completely corroded and gone, so they're going to have to pull new conduit in places and some new wire. So we're working on hopefully getting that done in the next month or two to get the water tower relit back up. Next, just want to talk a little bit about the grants. I know it's got brought up. The first, as you are aware, the council directed staff to the remaining $3.5 million that we have in the ARPA funds from Lake County to work to get that over to use for DWTS. So both Anita and I, town attorney and I, we've met with the county. She's been working with the county attorney because the first thing we have to do is get our intergovernmental agency agreement amended. So they're going to have that at the next commission meeting, and you'll see that at the December meeting to amend that, to use that for a DWTS system. And on Friday, we will put it out to bid. Anita's been working on that over the weekend and has it about ready to go, and we have the advertisement into the newspaper, so we'll have that out to bid with the bids coming back in December, and hopefully we'll have that on the December meeting for you, the regular meeting. If not, we'll have to do a special one in December, but we should be able to get close again now on the regular meeting in December for you to review and approve, assuming we get the bids back.
Then that goes to Lake County, but they have meetings every week, right? Because I want to make sure we hit that before the end of the year. I think their last meeting's the 21st, I looked at.
They have a meeting next week, but it won't make that agenda. She indicated, I think it would be the second meeting in December. I'd have to look at the exact date, but they will get theirs approved in December, and we'll be able to get it approved here at your December meeting as well.
So, okay, I'm sorry.
Let me look I'll look for the date she gave me.
Yeah, just real quick. I want to make sure I'm following it.
Yeah, so the two IJs will be approved at the December meetings, our December meeting and Lake County's December meeting.
Okay, so ours is the 10th.
Correct.
And then they're going to have a meeting the following week and the following week after that. So they'll have 2 meetings after that.
She said they will take theirs to the BCC no later than December 17th. And
So all right, so they have to have it by then on the agenda?
Yes.
And they'll just make that part of the consent agenda, I would think.
I would think so, and I did see the county manager this morning, and I just thanked her for her assistance with getting that amended, because Paul had been speaking with her, and she said that it was not an issue and she hadn't heard concerns, so
So
I don't
amended, you
anticipate
mean
problems.
just change it from saying septic to sewer to septic to what we want?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be for DWTS systems.
But
Correct.
that's it, that's the only change in it, right? Is
That's correct.
From 1 to 1?
Yep. That is correct.
So we have we only have 1 shot then in December to get it done if we're going to do, if you put out the bid now, I don't know. it's gonna be
We have the bid out now. We have time to get it done. All we have to do is get it under contract by the end of the year, by December 31st. So if for some reason the contract negotiations take a little bit longer, you can also authorize, we could bring the basic terms and you can authorize us to sign and you can ratify it later on the back end. We can put that as a condition, and that's enough. All we got to do is encumber the funds.
Yeah, and they're
So
gonna
so
wanna
we'll
work
make
with
sure,
us.
I mean, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, okay.
So and we'll try to do that at the regular December meeting for you, so you don't have to have a second one in December.
Well, if you can do it the week before, then we have 2 shots, the 2 shots to hit the county meetings, right? We got the 10th and the 17th, if you can do it the first week of December.
Well, they're 2 separate things, I guess. So the IGA will get approved. So that doesn't need, either of us could go first or last on that. So that's the first thing. Then the other thing has to get approved is the actual bid that we're going to go under contract with. So there will be 2 separate approvals going on. And all those will get done by mid-December. There should be no issue getting those done by mid-December. And I expect to have them on your meeting on the 12th.
Okay.
So no problem at all.
Wait, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask Alan.
I couldn't hear that part. It's going to go from septic to sewer to septic to...
DWTS.
We're bidding out as a individual decentralized wastewater treatment system. DWS. Yeah, it's not advanced septic. It's kind of its own creature, but that's
advanced sewer, you might say.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what the initials stood for.
Okay.
And you're confident we can get this done? That's razor thin.
If Anita says we can get it done, I'm confident.
I mean, there's nothing we can do to make it any faster. I mean,
we've got 3 weeks behind us already, so we want to stay on top of it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, we're moving as fast as we can. I mean, part of it is we have to put the bid together and get the bid documents together. We still got to work through the contract, so we're moving as fast as we can to get it done.
Well, let's have the council help you. Is there anything else that's higher priority at the next month than this?
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
I mean, once the bid goes out, there's, we're in a lull for 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, so we just have to wait to get it out there. So, it's just, you have to follow those state bidding requirements. So it's hurry up and wait kind of thing. So I don't anticipate any issues unless.
You can't, and it wasn't able to piggyback off the county because it's a federal grant?
Correct, because it's ARPA, you can't piggyback.
We
Yep.
can piggyback
You
on
cannot.
that? I didn't think we could.
Yes. Sure.
That's too bad.
There was some discussion last time that there's only one company, that we were going to use the company. Do we have to put it out for bids?
Yes.
Must be put out for bid.
And there's multiple companies that will bid on it?
The federal grant doesn't allow you to use it.
You can't use single source bidding.
Right, you can't do singles. That was the terminology. I thought that too. That was my first attempt.
No, and we looked into that. That was what we all thought, that maybe we could get away with doing that, but.
So we have companies that are willing to bid on it?
Well,
I honestly don't know. We don't know.
Paul and I met with the one company that the county uses, and they were fine. They do it.
Right.
They're gonna bid on it, I can promise you that. And I'm sure they'll get their bid in right away. If anybody else.
So if we don't have any more bids, then we can go with them?
Whatever
Yeah.
Anita says.
Yeah. Then if we have multiple bids, we rank them, council vote which one to move forward on, then we go from there. Yep.
Okay.
I get to sleep, last week of December.
You get the what?
Get to go to sleep the whole night, not worry about this.
Yeah, I just would hate to see us lose that money and
Oh,
get
yeah.
nothing out of it. That's so.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay. What else you got?
Sure, and just following up, you'll notice there's a DEP that canceled the other $4 million grant that we have, just authorizing the town attorney and myself to carry out what we need to do to cancel that $4 million. I did want to let you know that we, myself and the Woodburn current team did reach out to DEP, see if we can't move that money to something else for that $4 million or use it for the DWTS, and we were told no. In fact, they've sent us a cancellation notice. They have to have those funds allocated by the end of the year and under contract with somebody, or they have to give it back to the federal government. So
That's in here tonight, right?
That's in there tonight. So I just want to let you know we did reach out and try to move that money somewhere else. The next thing I want to let you know about is on the $19 million, going down the next one. So you guys remember Morgan, who was the one of the grant coordinators for Woodburn Kern that appeared here at a couple meetings.
Lady,
with Scott. So they have a good relationship with DEP, and don't want to get onto the down into all the details of it, but long story short, they've had a conversation, multiple conversations with DEP, and they are in somewhat of agreement if we could make it fit the criteria of the SHAFI requirements, which is a lot has to do with hurricane hardness, things like that. They're going to allow us to move most or possibly all that money over to stormwater projects.
So we're gonna have a lot of money to address stormwater real fast here, hopefully.
So hopefully we won't lose that 19 million. So they're in agreement. I do have an email that says that we can use it if we make it fit. So the next step is we're kind of back where I need to get an agreement with Woodburn Kern, because they're going to have to put the planning study together to get that approved, the formal approval by DEP and the EPA for that money to be used.
When do you have to have that done by, though? Not this year, right?
No, you'll probably have that at the December meeting. Part of it is technically under the program, we were supposed to have a grant agreement written already. They're working to extend that with us, and they're going to work to get us a grant agreement by our next meeting, and that will be a priority for the end of the year. So it'll be a general grant agreement, same thing that we were working on, or that you've seen here for these other programs, that says, hey, you have to meet all the program criteria, you'll have to do a planning study, you'll have to have that planning study approved by DEP and EPA, you can use the funds for this, here's your reimbursements, things like that. So we're working through the process, and we'll continue to work through the process with, obviously all these are going to take a significant amount of time to kind of get these cleaned up and moving forward, so we'll keep working through those. Two last things. Any questions on the money grants?
No.
Okay.
19.8 is good.
Yes. So still, like, what, 20 23 million-ish left over. Just want to say Light Up Montverde will be December 7th. Santa will be on the fire truck at 10 o'clock. He'll do the same route as he did last year, just kind of going down the main street, 455, and circling around. And Light Up's at 6 o'clock. And then the last thing, I just want to put a shout out. You recall a young lady by the name of Annabelle came in here about an Eagle Scout project a couple months ago. She completed that Eagle Scout project with some volunteers this last Sunday. So they went in the cemetery, did a lot of cleaning. They took some non-toxic detergent and literally cleaned almost all the headstones out there and tried to uncover ones that were been neglected over the years. So just a shout out to Annabelle and her Eagle Scout project. Looks like they did a good job. And if you get a chance, you might take a look over there. So that's all I have.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
I watched them doing the cleaning. They're working hard at it. But somebody mentioned to me that the pressure washing the monuments takes off a film. I don't know if it's accurate or not.
Yeah, we don't pressure wash them.
They're using some type of pressure washer. Just maybe they're doing it around it.
Yeah, I think they had a little sprayer on it or something on there, but they were just hand scrubbing and just doing a light rinse, I think. That's probably how they got the water over there, is just kind of doing a light, one of those little tank
It
things.
looked like one, but I didn't hear it, so it
Okay.
probably wasn't.
Okay,
That's it?
that's all I have.
All righty, thank you very much. Anita, do you have anything? No. All righty, thank you very much. Our town planners, do you have anything?
Yes, good evening. Just wanted to report that we have been very busy. I would say that we processed about 20 to 25 various applications over the last month. The usual types of applications, new single-family homes in Willow Ridge, and maybe a couple more throughout the town, and the usual fences and pools. So just been very busy.
Yep.
Thank
know
you, that's
that.
all.
Well, great, thank you very much, Lisa. Let's go ahead, County Commissioner not here, go to Town Council. Jim Lay, do you have anything?
I just wanted to reiterate, I thought that was the finest Mount Verde Day we ever had. Of course, I haven't been to all of them, but I want to congratulate Paul and the staff on that one.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Everything went well.
Yep.
I love the idea we got away from carnies. I love the idea we got into youth stuff and games and bounce houses.
Midway, the Midway for the kids.
Yeah, the Midway, and I got to drive the train again, so yeah, it was good.
All righty, Carol, do you have anything?
I didn't get to drive the train at all this year, and that does not sit well. Hope for
But
better
you
luck
won't.
next year. Yeah.
Still Christmas coming.
And I plan to be there, yes, sir. I echo Mr. Lay. I think you guys did a great job. I know it was a lot of hard work. Every morning I saw you guys out there, and every evening I saw you out there. So even on the Saturdays and Sundays. So your hard work was greatly appreciated, and I do think we had a really, really good Montverde Day. Lots of kudos on the dog park. I've been over there with my dog. I know that there are lots of people who've been by with their dogs. So the new grass is looking good, and the dogs seem to enjoy it.
All righty, thank you very much. And let's welcome Joe to our council,
Thank you.
and it's your turn.
My turn. Okay.
You gotta push the button when you're ready to talk. Oh, it's on, okay.
Yeah, I got it. So I wanted to actually thank Carol for pushing me. I had mentioned to her in the past, as far as running for the election. I want to thank everyone that did vote for me as well. And, a couple things that I wanted to bring up and talk about. I talked to Paul in reference to...
You gotta talk louder, they can't hear you in the back.
Can't hear me? Sorry, guys. This thing here. I talked to Paul about South Lake TV. I don't know if you had a chance to look any further into that about
They
this.
still can't hear you. Can you turn this up a bit?
All I gotta do is swallow it at this point.
I use these right here, it's
I know.
easier. Try it now? Oh, wait a minute, you didn't finish it yet.
Well, okay, I was asking, yeah, I can hear myself now.
Go ahead and talk and see if we can listen.
I had talked to Paul in reference to South Lake TV. A lot of people had approached me in reference to it spinning when they're trying to watch it, and it's unwatchable. And I knew we had talked about it. I just wasn't sure if you had a chance yet to follow up with that, with South Lake, if it was us or them.
Yeah, I emailed Jay. He's going to be looking into that to see if there's any issues. I know some people can watch it fine, others it's spinning, so.
How come your mic works so good and his doesn't?
As I speak up. You just
I'm
gotta
trying.
speak up.
I guess the question I would have for it, and if you want, I mean, I don't mind talking with him, with you, if you wanted, as far as trying to figure that out. If you can, you know, I can help with some of that. If you
Sure,
want.
I'll see what he comes back with, and we'll go from there, definitely.
Okay. I wanted to bring up the website, and I know we have a ton of things on our plate right now, so this may not be a great time for that, but back in August, Alan had made a motion to have the council vote on the website, and it never actually materialized, so I was sort of asking if we can maybe get that on for the next meeting, maybe to talk about that, to get bids out there for our website. I don't know.
I don't know. I would say we're gonna have to wait till January or so, because we're pretty busy right now, and
That's fine.
I don't wanna lose no grant money.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, no, I understand.
Yeah,
wanna put
we
that
do
out
have a
there.
new website up, and I'm sure been on. Our problem is right now, we don't have any staff time we're at the point where staff needs to send stuff to get it updated, and it's just not gonna happen until March, just to be honest with you. We have too much on our plate right now.
It's definitely on the list. I got like things that there's nothing under each website. You know, it doesn't say anything, so it can wait.
No, I get it. I don't want it to fall through the cracks.
No, that's fine.
Okay. That's all that I have.
All righty, how about you, Alan?
Well, a couple things here. Montverde Day, it was really great. Glad that everybody participated. I'm glad the weather was great because now we're into low, almost 90 degrees for November, and I'm trying to figure that one out. So that's Florida weather for you. Paul had two things to ask of you. Well, first thing, I noticed, and I had quite a few people comment to me, that our baseball field and the seating area where we put the sod down from the old tennis court is very uneven. And I've noticed walking through there, we're uneven terrain. I don't know if we need to get a commercial roller out there and roll that, or follow behind it with a laser leveler on a dozer to fill in the spots and then smooth it out again, set up a laser and go from one end to the other to eliminate that. I think it's probably one of those things that once we do it, it'll be done once and done. I don't know how you feel about that, or if we can, I mean, that's not a priority right now, but it probably next time before the end of the year, or I mean next year for Montverde Days, that's something that's concerning to walk at the unevenness. I know the ball field was always uneven, and that was one of the things that we didn't want to spend money to revitalize the ball field as a ball field. So your thoughts on that? Or
Yeah, we'll definitely look at rolling it. Part of the old baseball field is the type of grass they put in. It's thrown in there in clumps, and so it's too early to really roll it heavy, but we can look at that. And part of it's designed not to be completely flat because we need some areas for the water to kind of drain to, so we have a few little swells in there, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needs a little bit more work, but it's in progress.
Well, it was nice to have the new pavilion, the new stage. That worked, I thought, really well. There weren't that many glitches that I heard or had visually seen. Wanted to give a shout out to one of our non-residents, but a part of our town, of Dan Hayden, did a good job emceeing for it. I thought he's done that for years, and it was good to see him there. I see Brad and Montverde here. You guys did a great job with your choral arrangements, the choirs. The art show, I thought, was exceptional. That your art teacher needs to be patted on the back to encourage those kids. That was quite some interesting artwork, some very talented, and you could tell they put a lot of thought in how they presented their artwork. And I'm glad you guys participated, especially your art department. That was nice to see. I want to bring back up, I heard from Santa that he's still wondering if the council members want to follow the fire truck to give out candy canes to kind of go one-on-one with everybody in a golf cart or something, so he's not trying to throw them off the top of a fire truck. And your thoughts on that, council, before we close today would be accepted. I did hear that since the Noon Green Deal has gone through, that coal is outlawed for giving out coal. And California had adding all the brush fires so that there's no switches left. That's the backup.
So if you know anybody who's naughty, I've been told through the grapevine that there'll be no switches, no coal, so those naughty kids and adults will get a free pass this year, so whatever that means. So just don't get into a habit of it, but that's all I have. So I'll leave that back to the mayor for follow-up.
All right, thank you very much. I got a couple things. I was gonna ask, when we do the minutes, if we can do a little more detail on the minutes, because they're a little too vague. The action minutes are good, but it's just a little too vague. And if you guys are okay with that.
Let's get cut out for some reason.
Huh? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. I mean, we can, if that's what the council wants to do. We generally been doing a summary because we record all the meetings now, and we store those in perpetuity, both audio and video, so we can always pull them up on that. But if that's council wants to do, we'll definitely do
No,
that.
I understand that, and changed it 2 action minutes maybe 7 years ago, and because we do it every single, ridiculous. Might have gone a little bit too far.
Okay. Yep, we could do that.
I really can't understand them when I'm reading them. It's like, and I was at.
Gotcha.
What else? Good job on Milton. Unbelievable job.
That's right, Hurricane.
Milton was a tough one. Give you that. What else I got? Oh, I want to just putting it out there again. In January, maybe we'll start. February, want to do the charter change if the council's okay with it, to change any density or zoning change has to take. I don't know if we want to include zoning, but just to talk about it. Any changes between density and zoning has to have 4 out of the 5 council people agree to that, which that would be, the purpose of that is so that 10 years from now, when all of us aren't here and you got different people in place, or even 5 years, it's hard for them to change density, or it's hard for them to change zoning. We're trying to make it as tough as possible. That makes sense? So I'd like to have more conversation about it, so I want you guys to start thinking about it.
Yeah, so we'll bring it back in a workshop,
Yeah.
probably February or March, Mayor. We'll get it on the
around
agenda.
there, yeah. Just,
So,
I'm going to bring it up every meeting so everybody's still thinking about it.
most definitely.
Because it's one of my pet peeves I want to do. All right, let's move on. Got a beginning balance of $5,498,722.43. Ending balance with $4,868,315.17. Grants we have in our account $4,103,927.19, and total is $8,972,242.36. And we'll move on to discussion items. And the first one is our 23-24 fiscal year budget. If you want to go ahead and put some slides up for that.
That's consent agenda first, Mayor. Consent agenda first. The consent agenda first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need, since we changed that, I can't get used to it. I need a motion to approve the minutes for October 8th and October 22nd.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Let's have it. All righty. Let's move on to the 23-24 fiscal year budget.
Sure. Council, I don't have too much to go over. I just wanted to say I did include last year's unaudited fiscal year budget as it stands right now. Obviously, we have a budget amendment in there to take care of the couple projects that the council has added last fiscal year. So if you have any questions in there, be glad to answer them. But I know there's a lot of numbers in there, but you can be glad to, if you want to come stop by and see me, I can review anything with you at in my office if you'd like to as well.
All righty. Discussion.
So most of this is just clean up.
No.
No.
No, they probably
Yeah,
maybe sit down with them.
Yeah, it's just the end of year numbers for last fiscal year for 23 from October.
Okay. All right, we have a loan that we want to pay off. This discussion about authorizing the town manager to pay remaining balance on the DEP loan. And we're gonna pay with impact fees. If you wanna explain to them what exactly that is.
So council, back in probably late 2021, council approved a state revolving loan fund for the water system so we can do a planning study. And the purpose why we approved that loan was you have to get in the queue for SRF for future grants and funding. You have to do that planning study plus get in the queue, which ultimately led to us getting that $13 million grant. So the grant, the project is complete. We've made one payment back. The remaining balance is $158,709, and so I'd just like authorization to use impact fees to go ahead and pay that off. And that was always our intent when we did it, that we wouldn't carry the debt. We would just use it to a means to an end. So I would like a motion to pay that off if you guys are inclined to do that.
I remember it was mostly just to establish credit with them, correct?
Correct. It's to get into the program.
Yeah, get into the program.
Yeah. Correct.
And Anita, this is fully legal to use impact fees?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We only made one payment, right?
We did make one payment. The original loan, I believe, was 169. Sounds like 169,000.
How much was the payment? I don't remember.
It was 12 or it was a few 12,000-ish, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
You open it public?
Oh, sure, open up to the public. One at a time. All righty, bring back. I'll make a motion that we pay off this loan.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. All righty. All right, we'll move on to these ordinances. We've got 12 of them. If you would please, Anita, 2024-39.
An ordinance of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, relating to the regulation of the operation of golf carts on public streets within the Town of Montverde, amending Chapter 24 of the Montverde Code of Ordinances, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All righty, this is the golf cart, public streets. I'll open it up to the public first. You guys want to talk about it? Okay. You want to give an overview of what exactly it is? You know, about the 455, all that stuff?
Sure. So this would allow residents in the town to utilize golf carts in any areas within Montverde that have a speed limit under 30 miles per hour per state statute. Specifically, would open up 455 in Ridgewood would be the change here.
For licensed drivers over?
I mean, so state statute, there's a lot of state statutes. They have to be 18 years of age, and there's certain things, what qualifies as the cart you can drive on it. You still have to follow all the rules. And one of the questions, so this was a first reading, but it did come to council before, and you had some questions. And one of the question was about, can we ride on sidewalks? I think Anita did a little bit of research on that, and I'll let her maybe answer if you're okay with that.
So since the last time you heard it, one of the changes you wanted, which we've made in subsection D on page 2 of 4, was allowing the golf carts within the parks, prohibiting it except where designated for parking, and then you would be allowed to do it. The statute addresses sidewalks, and they are allowed, but only adjacent to state highways. And the sidewalks have to be a certain width. So essentially, it wouldn't be permissible in Montverde. So we did not include that, and but we did make the other changes requested.
Anita, the B, golf cart operation sidewalks prohibited, no problem, except for the town employees and agents performing official duties of the town. I'd like to add that except part, the golf cart operation on the trails. They're the same thing. You're picking up the trash on the trails.
The issue with having golf cart operation on the trails is some of the trails were funded with grant funding, and it's prohibited in those grant agreements to allow golf carts on the trails. And that's
Officially
why,
used to?
correct, so that's why we did not
Oh, yeah, do people
change
walk
that.
up and down the trails? Don't they ride up and down with the carts and pick up, trash?
I mean, the town employees do, yes.
Everybody does, gators.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And this is prohibiting them from riding on Ridgewood, Fosgate, and 455.
Allows them to.
No, it changes it, yeah, you can, but it has to be an 18-year-old or higher or older, and, the car has to have certain things, brake lights, turn signals, headlights,
Basically like a vehicle.
I get it.
Without a
And
cab.
have to be able to go 35 or 30?
It has to, they have to be equipped with headlights, brake lights, turn light, or turn signals, and a windshield, according to state statute. And they are on roads, as Paul indicated, posted speed of 30 miles per hour or less. And they have to be 18 years of old, 18 years, unless they have a valid driver's license or a valid permit, learner's permit. And that's state regulation, we can't change.
Are we going to add signs?
Signage for,
Like, can't go past this point?
it's not planned to have any signage. It's just where it's posted for 30 miles an hour or less. And I think the crossings, there used to be requirements to have crossing locations, but I think that's been removed from the statute, is my recollection. Oh, actually, designated control intersections are posted with signage. So when there's an intersection, it would be posted.
Yes.
Brian Rubio, 16548. So this is to allow golf carts anywhere on 455, Fosgate, and what else?
Pretty much anywhere.
All of Montverde.
With 30 miles per hour or less.
Correct.
The thought is nice, and here's my take on it. And I do see someone in the mornings in the golf cart that they go drop someone off at Montverde Academy, and they drive on the street, then on the sidewalk, then on the grass. And so, from my perspective, that creates a hazard if you have a bunch of people doing that going to Montverde Academy or just anywhere else. Aside from that, I think golf carts, some of them, I don't think they have a speedometer, so you don't even know how fast you're going, and if it's 30 miles an hour, that's, even though it's a residential area and whatnot, 30 miles an hour is, for a golf cart, that's pretty, I guess, high. Most people are not going to be driving at 30 miles an hour, which could create traffic. Another implication that could occur is that you're going to have to up the state trooper presence, right? So we obviously, I assume we pay them to come out, right? Extra days. So, that could create an additional enforcement. But overall, I think that, there is a liability there. If these golf carts, are, if let's say they go up, and the amount of golf carts on the streets is just not something else to look out for. And are they going to follow the rules and the statutes? Most likely not. And that puts us drivers who are doing the right thing at liability. So that's all I want to say.
Alan Light, 17569, 455. I just want to know, where did this come from? Who wants golf carts? What group of people asked to have golf carts be allowed to ride around on the roads?
So this was a current code. You already allowed for golf carts. We just made revisions to make it comply with changes to state statute relating to golf cart regulation, and also to allow it on county roads because the county was okay with that. So that's why it's back before.
It's probably 6, 7 years old, this
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a while.
We passed it years ago.
Yeah,
I had reservations also. We haven't had any accidents.
yeah. Well, they haven't been on 455.
Yeah, I've witnessed
I'm sorry. I
half a
still-
dozen
I still
almost
read the
accidents
part, where does it
on
say you can drive on
455.
455? what am I missing here? It says, number one, are prohibited operating on Falls Gate County Road 455 in Ridgewood except at controlled intersections. Those are
Until
where
Lake
we're going.
County approves it, they're prohibited.
They
But
haven't
Lake,
approved it.
it's my understanding Lake County is going to be approving.
Yeah, I've met with them and they didn't see any issue with it.
Yeah, they had us where we can only go crossing the roads.
Yeah.
They're-
Well,
So you're saying they have approved it or they're going to approve it?
I don't know that we have anything in writing formally from them yet, but they have indicated they would approve it.
Okay.
And so it's prohibited until
do.
they approve it.
Then maybe we ought to bring it back up at that point.
But they won't approve it till we take them something for them to approve.
I got it. Okay.
well, it sounds like it's almost a done deal, but
Well-
I agree with him. I think it's a bad idea all the way around.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Are we gonna consider golf carts and gators kind of the same thing?
No.
The statute does
State
not.
doesn't.
No, it's interesting because, everybody rides the little two-wheel scooters around and they can ride them in the street. There's no regulations. And as you know, you've been seeing a lot of those go on too. So it's a catch-22 here.
I'm sure there's gonna be somebody getting hurt soon.
Can we take 455 out of this?
It's been out of it for you.
Yeah,
from the
that's
beginning.
really the only change is we're
That's the
doing a
only big
455.
change. Fosgate, but we don't really do Fosgate.
And we did, going back when this was last year, we did have some people come to council and actually
Oh, yeah.
ask the council if we could make that change, because there's people that live down on Lowry and Mag Terrace and other areas on Morningside that wanted to be able to drive their golf carts in the town, especially when the restaurants were open. That's when they were coming like, hey, we'd like to just drive in and be able to grab a bite and drive home kind of thing, so.
Well, if it gets bad, we'll have to address it again.
And it is the first reading, so it'll come back for a second reading. So if you do approve it, you can definitely talk and think and deny it at the next hearing as well.
Well, I understand a couple of people's reservations, because I certainly had it years ago. We haven't had an incident, but then again, we're off the county roads, and there's a difference. So,
Alrighty.
all right, no one wants to speak.
So we need to make a motion on this first reading to
We got
approve or
one more.
deny?
Joe.
We got one more out there.
Oh, I'm
One-
sorry.
one more
I'm sorry.
comment.
Natalie Galligan, 17041 Florence View Drive. I will just say, I don't have a golf cart, and I don't really have a weigh-in either way. I would just say I do have witnessed young children driving golf carts through Magnolia Terrace.
That, it's against the law.
Right. And I just asked him, I'm like, don't you have to have a driver's license? But I have seen that going down Florence View, just FYI.
When you see it, call Lake County. Have them come talk to them.
I hate to keep dragging this subject up, but I put seat belts in mine for my grandchildren. And if you get on a county road, I think you ought to have a seat belt on. Just opinion.
Alrighty. So we need a motion, right? Okay, anybody want to make a motion to move this forward? Anybody want to make a motion not to move?
I'd make a motion on ordinance 2024-39 to table it until such time that there is a outcry or pouring back to council for it. In other words, it's a dead issue, in my opinion, if there's a second.
But I think Paul is probably correct about the county won't, if we don't.
I got it first. Anybody want to make a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we got a first and a second. All in
That's
favor, say aye.
Make a comment before you vote, please.
Yep.
So there are some things in the ordinance that we do need to change to comply with the new statute. So would you allow us to at least bring back an ordinance that addresses the statutory requirements for your consideration?
So
I
table it for
so-
now.
I so amend my motion.
Or if you withdraw it, then.
Remove the motion?
Yeah, just withdraw it and then
I'll
no one makes a
withdraw.
motion.
Okay. All right, well, Anita's gonna come back with it, adjust it a little bit, come back. All righty, well, thank you very much. We'll move on to 2024-129, if you would, please.
Resolution 2024-129, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the agreement for use of the Alert Lake Emergency Notification System between Lake County, Florida and the Town of Montverde, Florida, authorizing the town manager to execute the agreement and providing an effective date.
This is the second reading, right? On this?
It only requires one.
Oh, okay. All right, so this is the reading of us joining Alert Lake Emergency, and it's pretty much the system we used for a couple of years, only this one's free, and it's the county's taking care of it for us.
It doesn't cost us anything, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yep. We'll open it up to the public. This is where they call you and give you direction when you have a problem in the hurricanes and stuff like that. So you gotta make sure they know your number. Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Anybody want to talk about it? If not, need a motion?
I thought this was pretty good, reading through it in the B section on page 7. I like that approach under section E, law enforcement searches for missing person or a manhunt of escaped convicts or suspects evading arrest. Not so much for the latter two, but with our older population, I think this is fantastic that if you go on an errand and your elderly parent walks out of the house, it's, it centralizes, once the alert hits, it centralizes it to a notification that somebody is missing. And with our lakes and everything else around, I think that's something we probably should have looked at a long time ago, but it wasn't available. But I really like that from my point of view, that's a extra level of protection that helps Montverde specifically.
Make a motion if you like it.
I had a real quick question.
Oh, good.
Yep.
I just want to confirm, I don't think there is for this, but if we decide to cancel this down the road, I'm not saying we're going to do that, is there a cost? I didn't see anything in here. I just saw 60 days notice. Just wanted to confirm there wasn't a cost.
There's no cost to terminate.
All right.
Anybody else?
Have we ever used the system that we currently, have we ever used the system that we currently have?
The
Have
code
you
red?
notice?
What we had is
Code red.
Code red.
Code red.
Code red, and we had to pay a vendor to handle that for us, and it was expensive, but it got the job done. Now we don't have to do that. We can
There you
use this, and they didn't do what Alan just explained. This one does.
Right, no, I was just curious, the frequency that in the past that it's been used.
Every hurricane.
So if we were on our alert system, we would have gotten a call for Milton?
The old system, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the old system, if you were signed up, just like this one, you would get a call. And it would tell you, back then, it was good because we didn't have any way of communicating. Like, we didn't have Facebook, you didn't have anything. So you would say, okay, the town hall's open, if you need something, come here after the hurricane, that kind of stuff.
And if we go with the county system, does all the numbers that we currently have in our system roll over to that? Or as
No.
residents,
No.
we have to?
They'll have to sign up.
provide it? Okay.
But just a quick little stats that will ease your mind on that. We have less than a dozen people hooked up to the current Code Red system in town. And the county, during the hurricane, I know they had over 100+ residents hooked up to the Alert Lake already. They just signed up for it. So what this allows to do, if Montverde has emergency, then we can say, hey, there's a 18-inch water break, and the road's flooded, and we're able to do those kind of things. But right now, you could still sign up for Alert Lake and get the county alerts. This allows you to get Montverde alerts as well as the county ones.
Yeah, now the people not being signed up on the other one was the last time we used that was Irma 7 years ago, and people changed their phones, doing all that stuff. So that's going to be the same problem with this product. You got to update, and it's our job to remind them to update, not an hour before the hurricane hits.
Exactly.
So who updates the database?
The county keeps everything, but the residents will have to update their phone numbers and information.
Yeah.
It's up to the
They
residents.
Go online and do it. It's a great product, and I'm
Oh,
sure
I
they're
agree.
going to make it better, but
Yeah.
it's nice that they're offering it free to residents.
Can we add this to the water bill so residents will see it's available?
Yeah, we're going to get the information out there, most definitely.
All righty.
I'll make a resolution.
Make a motion?
Motion,
Yep.
2024-1229, that we approve it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, this is the permit, 2024-131, please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the service line replacement funding program, allocating funding, waiving builder permit fees retained by the town, providing directions to the town manager, authorizing the town manager to administer the program, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
Okay, this was the line that the study pointed out we need to replace in a lot of houses. And I think we allocated $50,000, is that right, Paul?
Let's see, 1 second here.
We put in 150 of it.
Correct, yeah. So how we set it up, there's 86 lines total, or 84 galvanized lines that need to be replaced. So what we're proposing is the homeowner does it themselves. On all these, we'll waive the fees. The homeowner does themselves. They'll get $200 to cover the material cost. If they want to hire a licensed Florida plumber, we'll reimburse up to $400 of it. And it also allows under an extenuating special circumstance where there may be a lot or two where they're super way back there, deeper trees, that we can go up to $1,000 per house on that. So the whole thing should be less than $50,000 to do the line replacement, which will actually be a savings for the town in the long run.
Well, I appreciate you and your staff and Anita getting this presented quickly. Good deal.
Council, anybody want to talk about it?
Have the homeowners been notified? Have the homeowners been notified?
Yes, and please, if you have questions, so we do have people online and do need people to come to the mic, please. But yes, we sent out all the notifications to the homeowners about the galvanized lines.
Need a motion, approve or deny?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-131.
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
Good.
Pretty good job on your first one. All righty, we'll move on to 2024-138, please.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting major site plan approval to Montverde Academy for expansion of the Henry D. Roberts Gymnasium located internal to the campus, providing for conditions and providing an effective date.
All righty, this school is going to be building something on the side of the gymnasium. You want to talk about it?
Sure. And Mayor Lisa does have a couple things if she could
I can
just.
do a brief introduction before Brad comes up, if you'd like.
Okay, go right ahead.
Montverde Academy is planning to build an 8,176 square foot, one-story addition to the Henry D. Roberts Gym. The gym faces 7th Street, and when you're looking at the building, it would be on the right side and on the back. This expansion is going to include 4 new classrooms, a dining room, kitchen, and storage areas. And up above, you can see their site plan of what they're planning to do.
Come on up.
Good evening. Yeah, this is an expansion of our Roberts Gym. This would actually help us with our dining services. Right now, as you know, our lower school students, pre-K 4 through 5th grade, actually go over across the street between 10:45 and 12 p.m. To eat services in that dining hall. This will actually create another space for our pre-K 4 through 5th graders that will stay on that side of the facility and never cross the road ever again. That's been my initiative ever since I got to the school. So this is near and dear to me to make sure this is on this side of the campus. This will also help us be more flexible on our schedules at the school. We're getting very tight on having one space from between 10:45 and 2 p.m. of lunch services in one location. This will open up 2 locations and also be more flexible for our morning and afternoon drop-off times and spread our times out more on this availability because we have 2 services now for lunch. So I just want to bring that to your attention from a morning, afternoon car line dismissal, spreading those out, getting more people off the line. And as you knew, About a month ago, we came to with the Porter Avenue access road, which is part of this as well to get more cars off the road.
This is a one-story building?
This is a one-story. The existing gym is a one-story only. It has a space for two because of the courts, but it's still a true one-story.
Alrighty. I went over there and looked at it, and it's pretty tight with the pool there for you guys, but.
There's no pool there. You're in the wrong gym.
Okay.
It's farther up the road.
All right. I was
At the
looking
one
at
you're
it
talking about
going-
is a big gymnasium. This is a different one.
Right at that gym's like, Alrighty. Anybody want to question Brad? Anybody in the public wants to ask questions? Now, my question was, why does this come into the town council as a resolution? Isn't it just a building being added onto it?
It's a major site plan approval, and that comes to the Planning and Zoning Board, and they recommended approval, and then it comes to town council.
Yeah, so in our code book, any commercial or institutional requires a site plan to come before council and planning and zoning.
Leroy Swaby, 17631 Virginia Circle. I definitely feel this will be a good option for the school. I've seen the kids on a day-to-day crossing the road, so it's a safety issue as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the you know, as someone that services the school over the years through my company, and someone that lives in the town, I don't think it's something that we should be allowed to happen. If we can improve the situation, I think we should do that.
This is mostly to keep the children crossing the road, right, Brad?
That's it. And we'll leave the late there.
The children won't be crossing the road a lot for dinner and everything, lower school?
The lower school will not be crossing the road anymore. They'll be staying within two facilities, their lower school building and this gymnasium, and it's actually being wrapped around more with fencing to actually keep them all within one area from a safety perspective.
Good idea.
Alrighty, anybody in public? Anything back to council? Discussion, if not, need approval?
Brad, I think this is a really good solution. I commend you. On a personal note, I think if you follow your dreams, eventually they come true. So thank you I know you persevered for this, and in years past, you've been caught a lot of the brunt of traffic flow and what can you fix, and you've got a really good solution for this, and I wish you and the academy well with it. I think it'll help all the way around. I'm sure some people will be a lot happier not having to have kids come across the road. So in lieu of that, if there's no other discussions, I would like to make a motion to accept resolution 2024-183 as presented to council.
Second. 138.
38, I'm sorry, 38.
Okay, got a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any say nay? Ayes have it.
So I will miss the little ones crossing the road with their hands behind them like this on the road. Cute as buttons.
They are cute. They are cute.
Oh, Lord, button.
All right, let's move on to 2024-140, if you would, please.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, granting a variance from Section 4-256 in Chapter 4 of the Montverde Land Development Code from the maximum building restriction on fences for the real property located at 17650 Doris Street, Montverde, Florida, owned by Robson Bonatti and Mariana D'Angelo, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
These people, go ahead.
I can, to introduce this application, their house is located at the corner of Doris Street in Virginia Circle. It's zoned single-family, medium density. There is an image that'll be shown here in just a moment.
I don't have it on the PowerPoint, so they'll need to look in their book here.
Okay. Towards the back of your report shows a couple of photographs and a site plan. But the applicant installed a fence that exceeds our maximum height of 6 feet. And the reason they did that was because of the unique topography of their property, and they needed to achieve privacy, so they felt like it needed to go up a little bit higher. So it's actually an 8-foot fence, but it achieves the privacy. The yard directly behind them is sits up a little bit higher, so the people that live there can see over a regular 6-foot fence, which is why they went a little bit higher.
So they didn't come full permit and get the requirement?
After the fact, yes.
After?
Mhm.
Yeah, so the variance is a result of a code enforcement case. It did go to planning zoning, and planning and zoning did send a recommendation of approval. Staff did review, and it does fit the criteria for the variance, mainly because of the topography of the land. A 6-foot fence wouldn't really provide any of the blockage that a normal fence would cause. And I believe the neighbor did come to the planning and zoning, said they didn't have an issue with it.
I hate to play too much of a devil's advocate, but when did desired privacy become part of the variance? I mean, usually if you put the 6-foot fence up and you want to put an 8-foot hedge behind it, you know, what's to say? But I've never heard of that because you wanted desired privacy to be part of the variance program.
Well,
Did I miss something?
Is when the person didn't cause it themselves, right?
So we've gone through the criteria for granting a variance, and because of the topography change, they do meet the criteria for a variance. The reason that we're telling you why they installed a higher fence is because they wanted privacy. You're right, it's not the criteria, but of the conditions for granting a variance, they didn't cause the topography of their land to be lower than their neighbors. And so from the neighbor's standpoint, they're looking at a 6-foot fence. But from the property owners, it's actually 8 feet. And that's just because of the elevation difference. So that's why we're recommending approval, because it does meet the conditions set forth in the code.
I hate to be negative, but I don't agree, only because when they bought their house, the land was like that. So how is that something that they didn't cause?
Because they did not create the topography. It was the natural balance of the land that the owner did not create.
I wish I had a big hill on the side of my house so I could put a fence on top of it. So
Well, I think that's true throughout Montverde.
Huh?
We have lots of hills.
I don't see a big problem with approving it. It's just that I don't agree that it's a variance.
Agreed.
That it meets by the variance criteria, because the criteria is that you didn't cause it to yourself. I can't get this to work. Man, you guys got another one? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying that I don't really have a huge problem approving it, but I do have a problem a year from now when somebody else comes here and says, well, we approved a variance that these people had known that they bought their house with that hill and back, and that we did have a 6-foot height fence requirement. We didn't change anything, and now we're approving that they can have a variance. So the next person that's going to come up here, I think, is going to bring up this case. So you guys got to think about that. Does that make sense?
It does. I agree with you 100%, Mayor.
I'm not trying to be negative.
I'm not against it, but it's throughout the town. We're not Orlando. We're not flat.
Right, and when the person bought their house, it had a hill behind their house.
Right.
You know, I can tell you, in many years on this council, there's been variances, and a lot of people got kicked out because it was something that they knew about before they did what they did. And now we're, I don't know. You guys can vote yes, so I can vote no.
I know I spoke with several neighbors over there, and none of them had any issue with that.
Right, but it's the neighbors don't make up the rule. The rule is the variance. I understand that, you know. I don't know. You guys, I'll open it up to the public.
Yeah, I was gonna say, public. Yeah, and the applicant might be here. Is the applicant here? No. Okay.
Come on down.
Brian Rubio, 16548. I personally don't care if somebody has an 8-foot fence or 6, but just to reiterate what the mayor said, that's going to open up the floodgates. Magnolia Terrace, some of the houses are pretty much, more of an incline, and, where is it going to stop? Is it going to be, 12-foot fence, I personally don't care. I could care less about the fence height, but, it's just going to open up a floodgate, and obviously Montverde as a town is going to be involved in that, so. Obviously, other implications is, if you approve this one, you don't approve the next one, then you open up for liability there as well, so that's it.
Well, it comes down to how much is a variance? You got to put up 5,000, right, for a variance, or you decide on the amount?
Yeah, this is the one that came before us and asked us to reduce the application fee, but the typical variance for a fence, it runs about $1,500, but we do require up to a $5,000 deposit.
All right, come on up.
Yep, I agree with the argument that it's, Montverde is full of hills. But when you invest into a fence, thousands of dollars, and you expect some kind of privacy, you got to take that into consideration also. It can't be just that it's a flat rule. Sometimes the sides can be a 6, and then we have to look at the back. Is it in a dip? Is it naturally graded so far down that literally you put a 6-foot fence and you can still see, your neighbor can still see you, up to the waist?
The rules say a variance is used when the person didn't cause the problem on themselves.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm just pointing that out. Not I don't agree with what you're saying. It's just the rules say that.
The rules say
we're supposed to follow the rules and nothing else.
Yeah.
And Anita's saying that she has one opinion of it, and I have an opposite opinion of it.
But just like earlier, as we're making adjustments to the golf carts, we also need to make it see sense where we're full of hills. Everyone's wants to pay their money for their privacy, then we need to also look into that too and take that in consideration. Because like I said, it may just not be the size that not the issue, but the rear. Because I'm literally
the golf cart part.
Yeah, I'm just saying we changed the rules for that. We made a consideration and adjustments. For that.
No, we're not changing the rule. We're
extending the
we're
lines.
making the rules
Yeah.
for the golf cart.
Yeah.
This one's already here. Now, if the council wants to do something and not call it a variance, maybe that we can do that. I don't know. But if you use the word variance, that word gets used everywhere. On all kinds of situations, and I would argue that we're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Sean, could I put you on the spot? I know that staff approved it.
Right.
Okay. What's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that you're not wanting to give variances out like candy, and it's very important that you deliberate on that. And these are always a tough call; they're not easy. We went through as a team, we went through the variance criteria, and just to go through those 6 criteria, we felt like it met all the variance criteria. There's 6 requirements. I'm not sure you want me to read them all, but yeah. The special first one is that special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land structure or building involved and which are not applicable to other land structures or buildings in the same zoning district, such as on-site conditions may include but not limited to topography, preservation of vegetation, access, vehicular and pedestrian safety, and preservation of scenic views. It's sort of can be gray, as always with these criteria, but there are some special conditions, with the topography that's there. I know that you mentioned it's throughout the town, but in comparison to the properties around in that zoning district. That's why we felt like it met that criteria.
Okay, and how about the other 5?
Yeah, so the number 2, special conditions and circumstances do not result from actions of the applicant. We felt like it met that criterion as well.
Well, wait now.
Yeah. That's sort of related to number 2, to number 1, the special conditions being the topography. I know it's interesting, that's always been number 2, but it's almost like it relies on number 1, logically. Then number 3 is that literal interpretation of the provisions would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by the other properties in the same zoning district under the terms of the chapter and would work unnecessarily an undue hardship on the applicant. So this is one we felt a little bit stronger on as well, meeting the criteria because of their circumstances. Other people were enjoying typically a 6-foot fence and that expectation of privacy, but in this case, they would not be having that. So we felt like it met the criteria there.
Okay, so let's say the two neighbors to the right of them went and bought a 6-foot fence because they have the same backyard, put the 6-foot fence in, and they are just annoyed that they had to do that 5 years ago because that was the rule. Now they're looking at their neighbor over here going, he's got a 8-foot fence up or whatever it is, and the town's not doing nothing about it. I would have put an 8-foot fence up had I known I didn't have to follow the rules.
Yeah, I think it's, and some of this is how you're looking at the fence itself and from the other side, if it's 6 foot, even though it looks like it's 6 foot, even though it's 8 foot, but it's 8 foot on the applicant's side, as we said.
No, I'm saying that
That's a little
the
different.
houses are next to each other and they're all that back, the hill in the back. This guy did the 8-foot fence. This guy did the 6-foot fence because that's the rule. This guy did the 6-foot fence, and now they're looking at this 8-foot fence, saying, "Well, I would have done that too if the town would have let me." And now they spent all their money on a 6-foot fence, and they got to go out and spend more money if they want to do it now, and come for a variance.
Yeah.
Because we're going to allow this guy to do it.
Well, and that's a good question. We can't look at it from the perspective, do the other properties merit the variance? We're only looking at this property, whether it merits the variance or not. One way to look at it might be if you went out there and looked at the fences, do they all look kind of the same even though one's 8 foot? Is it really out of place? And I don't think that we saw that in this case, but you bring up a fair question, and it's always, that's why you're making the big bucks, because you got to decide on whether it meets the criteria of the variance, and we'll make a case for it or against it.
I mean, it's a lot easier just to give it to them, but I struggle with the whole variance, using the word variance, because I've been here long enough to know that word comes out all the time.
And I think
I'm more of an opinion to grant it only because it's a fence. Remember when we held the line in the house on Florence, Lake Florence, and they had that issue because they they didn't have enough land, just that simple, to put a house there. And so we held it, because that was a whole different story. That's putting in this upstandard house. On a fence, I know it opens the door, but
yeah, and when we do get a lot of variances with issues, it is a sort of a marker for us in the planning that we need to change the code. And I'm not sure how often this has come up, but sometimes there are newer codes that will address viewing and angles on topography. We don't have that in the code though, so we have to go by what's in the code right now.
This backyard is very unique. It is very unique topology for this house.
I'm sorry?
It's just very unique, that the backyard, for the way things are sloped and everything here. I
Right,
think
but so is his neighbors. And his neighbors put in a 6-foot fence.
yeah, and I guess the biggest single thing here is appearance. If you look at it, it's not that obvious.
That's correct. That's what we're,
From the other side.
Yeah.
From the other side, yeah.
Well, I've already went and looked at it, so I'm
and
looking at it.
And neighbors sometimes has a lot to do with that too, what the neighbors' opinions are.
Yeah. They're very nice people, but I'm just trying to follow the rules.
No, I understand.
All righty, well,
This is, as you mentioned earlier, kind of coming to us after the fact. The 8-foot fence already exists, correct?
That is correct.
So if we say, no, you can't have the variance,
They'll have to bring the fence into compliance and put it at 6 foot.
yeah, I have to change it.
well, I think that's the biggest issue for me, is that it is after the fact. And I know that that's not the first time that stuff that's come before this council that has been, oh, well, we've already done this and now we want the variance, or now we need the permission. So, yeah, that's what I don't like, is just that it was after the fact.
That's a good point. All righty. You want to add to anything, Anita? No? All righty, we'll open it up to the public. How do you guys feel about it? One at a time.
Plans in motion.
Thank you.
All right, I'll bring back to council.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb a little bit here.
I want to hear as much as possible.
Oh, good. Someone is coming up.
Natalie Galligan, 17041 Florence View Drive. So the fence is already there. So why is this coming before council now, or how did this come before council now?
I was doing code enforcements on other places, and he saw the fence had just been put up. So
Oh.
he was doing his job and notified.
So there wasn't a complaint or anything, it was just
No.
you saw it and brought it to the...
Code enforcement, yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there
Okay.
a permit needed to put the fence up? So did they apply for the permit?
Nope.
Now, after the
Now they
fact,
have,
yeah.
Now they did, but not before.
Well, and when things go, just so you know the process, when there's a code issue, they have to rectify it either by fixing it, removing it, or getting it where it meets the current code. And a lot of times that means they have to go through a variance to make it work. And that's your guys' option to grant that or not, obviously. So all I can do is provide them, here's your options.
Alrighty, I just need a motion to approve or deny, if there's no more discussion. You guys?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-140.
I have a motion to approve, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hartle,
Yes.
Councilmember Morganelli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Womack,
Yes.
Councilmember Lay,
No.
Mayor Weincoop.
No, okay, it's granted. Alright, let's move on to the next, if you would please, 2020.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, increasing the residential and commercial solid waste fees resulting from increases charged by the service provider to the town, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. Alrighty, thank you very much. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay, Waste Pros asked for another raise.
So, council, this is per their contract. The solid waste fees increase, so they pass that increase on to them. They also, in March, will come with their annual CPI increase. This increase increases the average residential user by 10 cents per month.
10 cents?
10 cents.
Oh, so they won't care if we deny that, right?
Now, in this contract, Paul, they can do it for inflation? Cost
Yes,
of
for
living? They
CPI.
can do it for increased cost to dump?
For the disposal, correct.
And what else?
I believe that's it.
Should be another one, isn't there? Or anyhow. okay.
Yeah, and this is the disposal.
So
Yep.
come up, so this is the last one before the end of before June, when it comes up again?
You know, you'll see that, I think the CPI usually happens in March, if I recall, be March or April. You'll see the CPI, which will probably be in the 3 to 4% range.
I'm not saying no, I just, you just one
Yeah.
after another.
Yeah, this is the cost that, and they said they're probably going to expect a few more of these from the waste facility. So this is what they get charged to dump.
Well, it might be time to do a bid, sometime next year, not right now. But, I'll open up to the public. Bring it back to council. Need a motion to approve, deny, or any discussion?
Is this the same increase that they talked about, the two gentlemen came, I don't know, a couple of
No.
months back?
No, this is a new one.
This is a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 10 cents a month.
And you said that there's probably going to be maybe one more before the year is out? Or they won't be back
No,
till
in the
March?
spring, you'll see their, the CPI, the inflation adjustment. That one will probably be in the 75 cents to $1 range would be my guess.
So if we approve this one, they'll be expecting us to deny that one.
There you go.
Or they just up to 10 cents on the next one?
Yeah, I don't know.
But we definitely, and can't, honestly, with all the stuff we got going on, couldn't do anything to probably March or June or so, but we could definitely take it back out the bid. It's been a while. I have
And-
seen some of the other trash service costs out there, and I still think we're in a pretty good place for a lot of cities are paying.
Waste Pro does a really good job, but we should bid it out.
Not a lot of other competition though.
Yeah, there's 4 others out there, I believe.
I'll make a motion that we approve number 2024-141.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. And the Waste Pro got a raise.
Can we still go ahead and just feel out for bids to see if there is a better cost out there?
I can't fill out. We would have to publicly bid it.
Okay.
Because it'd be a service for more than a year.
And let's move on to 2024-145, if you would, please.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, approving Amendment 2 to Agreement Number 22 FRP 102 between Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Town of Montverde to add a new deliverable to the agreement, update attachments, including adding additional terms for the Town of Montverde infrastructure flooding mitigation project, authorizing execution, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
Alrighty, would you explain this better, Paul?
So this is our $1.8 million grant that we have for stormwater, and actually Anita worked on a little bit more than I did. If I might let her make a couple comments on it, because most of it's legal stuff that changed.
So there have been some changes to the statutory requirements as to what must be included in certain contracts, and that's a lot of what you're seeing in these changes. They've revised their grant work program, public records requirements, special audit requirements that are applicable because of the funding sources, some revised language relating to the coronavirus recovery fund agreements, progress reports, and contractual services certifications. So most of this originates because of changes in law, so they have to update the forms. And unfortunately, it's not really something negotiable. If you want the funding, then you accept their agreements. And there's nothing in here that, of major concern that I would say that I would recommend that you deny approving it. But that's why you're seeing changes to the grant agreements.
Alrighty, so Anita had to change some legal stuff in this agreement, and she's telling us that it's okay to approve it, and I'll open it up to the public. Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Anybody want to discuss it?
One comment. I see our due date is June 30th, 2026, and we haven't been hitting dates pretty well lately. So the chances of finish this up on 2026, I'm assuming will be on target, so forth.
Yeah, I believe we've already extended this one 3 times, but recall when we were working through the wastewater treatment plant, we put all of our stormwater projects on hold because we'd be tearing the roads up and they want to tear up what we already did. So this funding is Lakeside's out for bid, I believe, due middle of next month, and so we'll probably have a contract sometime in December that this will go to fund toward, at least a good half of it, at least.
All right.
Alrighty.
That's all I
Anita,
have.
on this contract, it was, yeah, it does. It says infrastructure amended on June 19, 2024. But it says here, everything went from replace attachment 1A to 1B all the way down the line. And so there's really not much difference, is there? Just new regulations, what?
Yes, new regulations. So rather than them doing like a strike through, so with changes, they're just replacing exhibits in full so that you have one document to look at, and you don't have to flip back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of it's just updated to the federal code. For instance, single audits go from $750,000 to $1 million starting next year. That's a change that's happening. Just bidding procedures, procurement procedures, things like that you'll see within there.
And we can't move forward till we agree, right?
Correct.
So if anybody else disagrees, I'm gonna make a motion on that.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. What are we on, 145?
46.
45.
Oh, 45.
Make a motion on 2024-146 that we approve it.
4-5.
45, I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion to approve 2024-145.
Second.
Second. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. And if you would please, 2024-146.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, amending the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget pursuant to Section 5.05 of the Town Charter to align the budget with GASB codification of governmental accounting and financial reporting standards, which results in improved tracking of impact fees and expenditures by amending the capital improvement expenditures to include use of impact fees, providing for an effective date.
Okay, and Paul explained to me that the accountants want him to get us to agree to this so that they can track the impact money that's coming in, where it's going, and the expense lines. You want to add to that, Paul?
No, that's correct. So there's two parts of it. The first is Exhibit A, so that's the actual budget amendment for increasing the funds for the expenditures such as, permitting, which we do at the end of every fiscal year, the dog park, things along that line. That's detailed out in Exhibit A. Then Exhibit B is we're just replacing the page out of there, and so that the expenditure page matches the revenue pages word for word for line. There's no changes to the dollar amount, but we're just changing the verbiage so it matches line for line so they can track the impact fees better. And that was a one of the comments in our audit, just because that's a GASB standard.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public. Bring it back. Any discussion, council? Okay. Need a motion. This is more or less just how we're going to track it. Nothing different. And by the way, I talked to Paul about maybe having the auditors come in and do a review for 24, 23, 23, 24, January, February. So that'll happen then. All right, you need a motion or to deny?
Make a motion, resolution 2024-146 be approved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. If you would please, 2024-148.
A resolution of the Town of Montverde, County of Lake, State of Florida, waiving application and permitting fees for permits to repair hurricane-related damages of properties, applying the waiver retroactively to September 26, 2024, and expiring December 31st, 2024, providing for an effective date.
You want to go ahead and explain this one, Paul?
Sure. So council, this is during the last meeting, you asked us to bring a resolution forward for properties that suffered hurricane damage. For the pieces of properties that the damage requires a permit. For instance, if, lack for a better word, if your carport was crushed during the hurricane, we would waive, sorry about that. I saw it when it was a mess, but we would waive the permit fees for that, so you wouldn't be charged a permit fee. However, like if you had one section of fence damage, you don't need a permit to do that. But to be clear, because I've already had someone come and approach me, they had one section of fence and no fence on the other two sides, and they want a permit for free to do the whole entire thing. That does not qualify for it. So to be hurricane damage, you lost siding on your house, the part that you're replacing, then that would be free of permit fees.
All right, so we're going to postpone the permit fees for a while so people can catch up on their Milton repairs. Open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk about it?
Matthew Bauman, 1122 Imperial Eagle Street, Groveland. I just want to say this is a really nice idea, I think, for those who've been physically impacted by the hurricane. My only question is, I think it's for the fees that the town gets to keep, because I know the town uses a contractor for building permits. So is it all permit fees or just the portion that the town gets to keep?
There's some ones that are from Milton, so you can't say that it's your hot water heater went bad.
No, I understand that. I just mean, I think we use Alpha Inspections, I believe, as the. Yeah, is it just the portion that the town gets to keep, or is it all the building permit fees?
I'm still not following, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
The contractor gets paid.
so the
yeah.
way I wrote it, and if you want it changed, we can certainly change it. I wrote it that you wouldn't charge them the permit fee portion that the town retains, but you would collect the portion that goes to Alpha Inspections.
Okay.
So if you want it to be the entire amount, then you can approve it that way. I just need to make some revisions before it's signed, and then you would have to use other funds to pay Alpha Inspections.
Okay, I was just curious. Either way, I think it's a great plan. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah, so we do want Alpha to look at everything, I would think.
Yeah, it would just be a matter if we want to just pay them out of our general budget to do that on our expense, or just waive the part that we collect. So, you know, we have our administrative fee, our technology fee, then we keep, I believe, 30% or 32% of an actual building permit fee to cover the cost for running the department.
And we're doing it to the end of the year right now?
Right now, it's to the end of the year. I would recommend that the council, if you approve this, that we do make it to June 30th of 2025. Gosh.
I was thinking March. What's an average month, normal month in permit fees?
What's that?
What do we, year to date, as far as fees on permits? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I would have to look at that. I mean,
These are only permit fees for hurricane damage.
Yeah. But, you know, like the average permit for a fence probably is running about $160. You know, some things are based on value. If you look at an individual permit, it just depends on what it is. But yeah, I could.
Well, I mean, are we giving away 50,000 a month, or giving away 500 a month, really?
Giving, sorry.
I don't know that number.
When you say giving away, I wasn't following.
We're gonna not charge them, right? So,
correct.
So we're gonna lose that.
Yeah, so well, if you waive everything, including alphas, then we have to pay we'll still have to pay alpha, and we'll have to pay that out of general fund to do that.
But I'm just trying to figure out what 30% of the loss is. They still pay off. I haven't gotten to not paying alpha yet.
Yeah, so it won't be the whole amount. It's in the budget. So, you know, my guess we did a evaluation of the town. We had to turn it in for Milton. I want to say there's less than probably 15 properties, maybe 20 at most in town that would qualify for this. So mostly it's roofing, some sheds, some siding, some things along that line. They're carport, obviously. So it really wouldn't be a too massive amount. A couple fences were out there. So
it's not much money here.
No, so if you waive the whole thing, 20 homes, I mean, it could be 25,000 at most, maybe, for the type of permits there are. It wouldn't even be that, more than likely.
It's not that much money, I just thought.
Yeah, I kind of, my take on this, when I mentioned this last time, was that, you know, you paid for the permit. It wasn't your fault that it got destroyed. One other thing I was wanting to, on comments here, like for sheds, most of these sheds that 10 by 12 is the max. Anything less than that is falls underneath that. Sheds aren't the most rigid, durable thing. I would like to see something in here. A permit will require, if you replace your shed to the same size, that's great. But if you think, well, you know, 10 by 12 and I had a 6 by 8, I think that's a little different story. That should not be included. Then that falls outside of the coverage that we gave you to. But I think as long as sheds are replaced and fences are put back up the same size that they were, I'm good with that. I don't think we should penalize our residents because Mother Nature decided to do something to them. It's my thought.
And I agree. As I viewed that, they would be replacing it with a similar product. The fence was the example. They have a fence on one side. They want to do the whole way around. Well, that's a new fence.
But do we pay the vendor to still do their job, or just
Yes.
not get the 30%? That's the other question.
That's the question.
So Paul, I got, one of my boathouses is missing half of the roof.
Correct.
Just the shingles.
Yeah, so your roofing permit that cost would be waived. If it was, you know, most things, if it's just a repair or patch and not a whole new roof, then we wouldn't even require a permit. So, same thing, I know a lot of people called the 2 sections of the fence fell down, and I was like, go put them back up, we're fine. But, if you knock the entire fence down and replace it, yes, or knock the whole section down, then you'll have to get a permit for that. That's usually when it kicks in.
Right, but are we gonna get his roof inspected after it's fixed?
Yes, yeah, his would, because it's over 50%, so his would be a whole.
50%, but it's, obviously, if the roof is ripped off, it's ripped off.
Right, but I'm saying, we have to pay a company to come and look at your roof that you did it correctly. Do we charge you for that, or do we eat that also? I would, at this point, I'd just say eat it all, so you don't have to worry about it. It's not a lot of money.
I mean, you could say that we would waive all the town fees and alpha inspection fees up to a certain amount per incident, such as $250 or $500 or whatever you want to make that number. Again, probably, again, we're talking less than 20 properties, so that would be a solution to make sure, if someone's house got completely demoed, that would be a problem, because that would be a $15,000 thing.
Okay, so if you guys are okay with it, we could do a motion extending it to, I don't know about June, that's a long time. But you're just doing that because they have to collect insurance, right?
Yeah, I think some people are struggling with insurance companies and, finding contractors. I would, at least 6 months from today, if you don't want to do it till June, that would get you in March.
Is that going to be the sunset?
Yes.
6 months from today?
We could do that if you want to do that.
Okay, so we'd have to make a motion. We need a motion doing that and stating that we're going to pay both the vendor and forfeit our 30%. There's 2 things on the motion.
I don't know if I should do those. I got to buy a spinning here. I need to rebuild my
Carol
house.
take care of it.
I'll take care of it, Jim. I move that
I had one question yet.
Okay, go
I had
ahead.
one
I'm sorry.
question.
Go ahead.
One of the things I had written down here was, is this something that we would face every time we have a hurricane? I guess one of the things
Probably.
I sort of made the note, like, is this something that we potentially could look at anytime the mayor issues a declaration of emergency?
Well,
is there an issue?
We didn't even start doing permits ourselves in-house till a few years ago, so this is a little bit new. I don't think that when Irma was here, we weren't doing permits. County was still doing it.
Correct. Yeah, and so under declaration of emergency, they're only valid for 7 days. You got to keep renewing them under the state statute. But I don't think you would want to put a blanket one under any hurricane, because if, for instance, if half the town was wiped out with houses, we couldn't afford to pay off inspections $500,000 in inspection fees that it would cost to do that.
I'd go to insurance company, yeah.
All right, you got a motion? Did you motion yet?
I was starting to, unless Carol wants to jump in on it.
Hit me.
Go for it. I'll second you.
I so move the resolution 2024-148 be approved with the following extensions: that we add a sunshine of 6 months from the effective date, that the town also would absorb all fees, including permitting and alpha inspections would be absorbed by the town for the 6-month grace period.
Okay, got a motion, and need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Well, keep going here.
Didn't say nay. Didn't say that.
Resolution 2024-149. Please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Planning, Design, and Construction Loan Agreement, LS 351320, authorizing the town manager or designee to carry out the terms of the loan agreement, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
All right, you want to explain this one? I don't know if you worked on it, Anita or Paul.
Yes, so this is to actually approve the loan agreement. You previously approved going and applying for funding. This is for the drinking water capital improvement project, and it is...
Should be the lead service lines.
Yes. Oh, yes, it's the lead service replacement funding. So it's...
and the money is spent already.
175.
Because we had to. Yeah, $175,000, correct. In this one, this is the 50% forgiveness, if I recall it. Yes, it should be.
17.
Don't know them. It does have some loan forgiveness attached to it. I recall that.
The amount's not here.
we'll take that up a little bit. So again, yeah, the lead.
Page 21 is a forgiveness. Article towards the bottom, 10.
The amount awarded is $192,500. $92,325 is estimated amount of principal forgiveness. The estimated principal amount of the loan to be repaid is $98,175, which consists of $98,175 to be dispersed to the town. Thank you.
Blind squirrel got lucky.
I'm a little bit slow up tonight. Can you explain that a little better to me?
So they awarded you $192,500, and they're going to forgive a little over $94,000. So the amount of the loan to be repaid is $98,175.
And so this covered that lead line and galvanized service inventory and report that we had to turn into the state that was due last, or actually due 2 weeks ago, that was turned into the state.
So that was part of the money that we're going to use to pay for people's houses to get repaired?
No.
All right.
This was just to do that, we had, they had to physically inventory every single water meter in town, open every lid, put it on a spreadsheet, put it on a map, and all that had to be turned to the state along with the report, so that covered that cost. So that's already been completed and done.
That was $175,000?
Correct.
Man, I'm in the wrong business.
Yep.
So it winds up costing us $77,000?
$98,000.
Correct.
That's what it cost us, or that's what we're refunded?
Well, that's how much you're going to have to pay of the $175,000. The rest is forgiven.
And this isn't one of those later on I might forgive us.
Well, it
Well-
does, it's guaranteed, yeah.
I know. Just saying.
It's one of those things we would have had to do anyway, because it's a federal guideline that came out of Flint, Michigan, is where this rule came out of. So it was required, again, to come back to our engineers. They were able to put this together and basically get, looks like about 45%, 50% of it covered through a loan forgiveness. So either way, it would have had to been done. So this way, at least it got done for half the cost.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public. Okay, bring it back to council. Any discussion on this? Okay, I need a motion to approve or deny. Or to ask for more definition.
Resolution 2024-149, so move we accept and approve.
I have a motion to approve. Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. If you would please, 2024-150.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, directing the town manager to return grant funds provided by the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection pursuant to the standard grant agreement for Montverde Septic to Sewer Project Phase 1, agreement number WG058, having an expiration date of December 31st, 2025, in the amount of $4 million, and take all necessary actions to cancel the grant agreement, authorizing the town attorney to provide advice and assistance to the town manager in canceling the grant agreement, providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, this one's pretty easy to follow. This is another grant we're giving back, more or less. Correct, Paul?
Correct.
And they need the approval to give it back. Open up to the public. And I'm sure Paul looked for a way to use it, but they won't let him use it.
We did.
Bring it back to council. We just gotta approve them, moving forward with giving back money. Any discussion?
Question, Anita, every time we've done our financials, it shows the interest paid on these federal grants. Do we keep that interest, or does that go back as part of the payback?
Any unspent interest is going back.
Correct. This particular
This
grant,
will get the
no,
money.
this is a reimbursement grant, so there's no interest accumulated. There are some small amounts that your Woodward and Kern team, engineering team, is trying to possibly get covered under this, so they submitted some invoices to maybe cover part of that, so it doesn't come out of our ARPA funds. But otherwise, no, it's basically canceling the agreement, so they will no longer reimburse us.
You know, you just said it doesn't make any sense. You use small amounts and Woodward and Kern in the same sentence.
There's some invoices and some, small amounts that we're trying. It's a small amount of invoices.
Never seen that before.
That's true.
All right.
I see what you're saying.
All right, bring it back to council. I need a motion.
Six-figure, small amounts.
Make a motion that we approve 2024 150.
Have a motion, need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say nay. Ayes have it. And the last but not the least, 2024-41, if you would. Oh, this is the work, the comp plan I'm not doing, right?
We will need, because we did advertise it, we'll need to table it to another date, so Anita will need to read it in, and so we can table it if we're not going to work, and Sean probably has a couple comments.
We're going to postpone this one for right now, sorry. And,
All right, we are going to get to the comp plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mayor, if you'd like, you could do this. I'll just remind you of something procedurally. You could do this very quickly tonight. Because this would be a transmittal. I'm assuming that you don't have any, that would assume that you don't have any questions and you're ready to transmit. Your P&Z did do a lot of work on this. You've had a couple of workshops. Nothing that you're hiding. If you transmit it, you would have an adoption hearing where you could turn it down at the adoption hearing if you wanted to and send it back for some more changes.
When you say transmit it to who?
You're transmitting it to the state.
Okay,
So the next step.
And they review it and accept it?
Yeah, they'll make some comments. They were probably not going to make comments on this because they're going to really like what we're doing, and we do great work. So and your planning and zoning board did good work on it as well. But,
yeah, I watched them. They did a good job. They picked it apart.
So you could
act too. You also did a good job.
Yeah, well, they did it. They did all the hard work. But if you could do, so again, what I'm saying is you could actually vote to transmit it tonight. I don't see the willingness in the eyes to go through a big lengthy presentation. If you're comfortable with it, you can transmit it. What I'm trying to say is that you will have another opportunity to look at it in even more detail because you have to approve it twice. You have to transmit it.
So this is like the first reading then, basically?
Yeah,
right?
It's like a first reading. You transmit it, the state comes back, they're not going to have any comments, we don't think. And then at the adoption hearing, you would have your second crack at it.
And if we didn't like something in it at the adoption hearing?
It happens, and yes, you can make some changes
at that point. Then we would send it back to the state for their approval again?
Yeah, it'd go sort of back to the transmittal again, yeah.
How do you guys feel about it?
I need to read it once you determine what you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to think about doing the first approval?
I read it today.
Okay,
Ordinance 2024-41, an ordinance of the Town of Montverde, Florida, amending the Town of Montverde's comprehensive plan to include changes in all elements of the town's comprehensive plan by the planning timeframes from 5 years to 10 years as required by SB 1604, Chapter 2023-31 Laws of Florida. Relocating archaeological protection language in the future land use element to the archaeological and historic resources element. Increasing the minimum open space percentages required for each future land use designation in the future land use element. Requiring access management to be consistent with the Montverde Walks Plan. Removing a requirement to identify wetlands as conservation open space. Clarifying architectural design guidelines as permitted by state statutes will be added to the land development regulations to assist in compatibility between adjacent uses. Excluding jurisdictional wetlands from gross land area, including the types of dwelling units that may be constructed in areas designated as affordable housing on the future land use maps, including Commercial District 2, C2, as a type of commercial future land use designation, clarifying open space definition, adding public facilities as a future land use designation, include reference to a joint planning agreement, amend Table 4 in the future land use element relating to density and intensity of land use designations, amending the capital improvements element, and public facilities element as required by House Bill 1379, Chapter 2023-169, relating to water quality in Upper Ocklawaha B map, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the Town of Montverde Comprehensive Plan, and providing for approval and an effective date.
All righty, there it is.
Just real quickly, you said amend table 4?
Yes, there were two changes from what's in your packet. One was correcting the table from table 2 to table 4, and one was changing utility future land use to public facilities.
Copy that.
That's from the P&Z?
No, it was just clerical errors that needed to be changed.
P&Z had like 5 or 6 things. And that was pretty good.
Yeah, they did. They beat it up a couple of times, went through it 2 hearings.
And they made sense about it, too.
Yeah.
I was really happy with it.
Right, and again, this was largely statutory, updating planning timeframes, but we did go through and we found a lot. They found, I joked with them and said they would pay them $1 for every typo, but we found typos, we found old references to agencies that didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, the one about the abbreviations, that was good.
Yeah, abbreviations, right, correct. Open space, we clarified all that,
Yeah,
Well,
there's
open
a
up
lot
the
of
public.
terminology change. And going through it though, refresh my memory, what is the Montverde Walks Plan?
That's your, that's a beautiful document that was passed. I'm not sure if you were on council, but 2017 or 8-ish, 18-ish? No, I think it was 2016. And that's your sidewalk plan.
I was on 2015.
Yeah, so right
I
around.
remember the complete streets. Is
That's
that
it, it's complete
Okay,
streets and
now-
sidewalk plan.
How to change your terminology.
Yeah, you put a plan together, so when you try to get money for sidewalks and trails, you have a plan, and that's what we've used from time to time. We reference it in different places.
Well, I guess there's no harm if we do the approval then, or we do pass this and just pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's the transmittal question.
Just had a
I have
question,
questions.
literally a quick question. Sean, I noticed the table 1, the minimum open space standards, those all increased. Was that because of state requirements or what?
And we made it consistent with subdivision design criteria for open space.
Okay, so anything that's in the system piped now is grandfathered in or has to change?
No, it's with the comprehensive plan, everything would have to be, would have to be consistent with the comp plan.
Okay.
Yes.
That raised some eyebrows, so 2 eyebrows. I was concerned why agriculture went from 20% to 25% when it,
No, I got, you want to speak?
on that.
Why did it go?
Yeah.
Well, because we're changing open space throughout I mean, it would apply to, that open space requirement had originally applied to all the zoning and future land use categories, so we would have changed it, including agriculture.
Well, I was just kind of, I'm not going to get into high weeds, but the right to farm was kind of conflict with this, because if you're already doing something, now you have to do less, because we said you have to increase from 20% to 25%.
Well, I think that's only for development, if you're proposing doing some kind of development, like a subdivision.
Well, that's why I was asking if it was strictly ag. I know we only have 2 spots.
No, I don't think, if you're doing ag on a property with that land use category and zoning, that's not going to affect any of what you're doing already.
An example of the comp plan recently for us is changing Osgood property to 2 homes per acre, half acre each.
Correct.
That was
Yeah.
a comp.
A map change, yep.
Right. After it was already approved, the comp plan.
That's right.
So that's a good example of one that we recently did. Go ahead.
So I had a question here. We have County Road 455, the minimum level of service is rated D. Everything else was a C. Any reason why 455 isn't a C?
Well, that's the county designation because it's a county road. So I don't know why it's, are you asking why it's not, what you think it should be a C?
How would we get it up to a C? I guess the question I have.
Or do we want to get it up? That's the first question.
Bike
Yeah,
lanes.
that's true, too. To get it, yeah, that's the counterintuitive part, is to get it and improve it, you're gonna have to, you four-lane it technically. I'm not saying you would do that, but,
I
yeah.
withdraw I'll withdraw that question then.
Yeah, yeah. You want it to be the D so that people are taking their time to get through, going through Montverde, yes.
Oh, okay, so I read it as a D as in below standards. That's the way I read that when I saw D. The
Yeah.
quality of the road itself was bad.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to do with the actual quality of the asphalt or anything, yeah.
Last question I had on here was, in element 3, page 2, it says the town requested membership on the Lake County Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Who's sort of in charge of that, I guess, is that us on council?
That would be you.
Us, okay.
Yes.
All right, that's okay.
Okay. And we encourage you to do that, absolutely.
The comp plan is like a guidelines, you know. It can be changed. But it's a good guideline.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had one other part on here.
Plan ahead.
Public notice, I know we discussed, I think, 2 meetings ago, but I think element 12, page 3 and 4, it referenced 300 feet yet. And it didn't have what I guess you guys had approved previously. It was 600, right, and then it was 300 for different areas. So I don't think that was correct in there.
Is it, we'll check it right now. Is that for zoning clearances? I mean, variances, or is it for?
I wrote down the element on my paper, that's all I wrote down.
We'll check right
No
now.
worries, that's
Well,
fine.
shouldn't it be for everything though?
Well, yeah, it should, no, because we changed it,
Yeah.
but it was for zoning and land use, not for, it was not for everything. There were some things that we were keeping at 300 feet, because we didn't want to burden the.
What would be something that isn't for?
I believe it was, we kept the variances the same, no?
I can chime in here and let you know, what we kept at 300 feet for notices is comp plan amendments, small scale, conditional use permit, development, preliminary plans, final plan, final record plat, minor subdivision, plan unit development, and site plan, major site plan, minor site plan, and a variance.
Well,
All
that's-
stayed at
that's-
300 feet.
Well, that got to change. Why wouldn't we do a major site plan? We wouldn't notify all people 600 feet?
Well, I think we decided to, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was 600 feet for large-scale comprehensive plans and any rezoning.
600 feet for everything.
Yeah, I personally think we need to notify everybody. Maybe 600 feet's a little too far too, by the way.
Well, I think, okay, all right, and we need to obviously get it cleared, but what I remember discussing at one of the meetings was if you made 600 feet for every single thing you're doing in the town, you'd be hitting the residents with quite an extensive certified mail.
Yeah.
For, depending if they were doing something small. Now, if they're doing something large, then you do that. You would.
I think we need to look at what we're leaving at 300. So then, to move this forward right now, we can't do it. Because we'd be sending this to the state, and then we have to change it later.
Well, what does it say specifically on that, April or?
And it says that the 300-foot notice applies to all applications for rezoning, comprehensive plan amendment, and variance requests.
That's all it says right there.
That, yes.
Okay. So we can change it to 600 feet for land use, for comprehensive plan changes in zoning, like, that's the way that I think the current change is made, right?
I don't recall what we changed it because there was a lot of discussion. I don't think everything went to 600 feet for the purpose, because of the mailing.
Yeah.
But I would just recommend that whatever you adopted as the ordinance, that we make sure that the comp plan is consistent.
And we can do that. So to simplify it, whatever it is, say maybe I'm not recalling it correctly, that maybe it is the variance that's 600 foot plus the large scale plus the zoning, then we'll make it consistent. If we transmit it, we'll make it consistent what you have already enacted.
Right, but I'm saying I think myself and a couple others here might think that we need to reevaluate and maybe do everything, or maybe do another 10 things. Maybe not everything, but I think it needs to be looked at And if we send it now, it's not gonna have what we want to change. Can we just do a meeting next Tuesday and give everybody time to review it and do a quick meeting next Tuesday? Would that be too hard?
I know Anita's not available. I think it's Thanksgiving week is next week too. No, I'm ahead.
It's the following.
It's all week.
Well, I'm hoping you probably need us for the 3.6 too, so.
I mean, scheduling wise, I don't think we could do that. I guess the issue is you'll have to re-adopt an ordinance. So we would have to bring that ordinance back to you to reconsider, and then make any changes to this, which we'd have to do for the December meeting.
And I know it's late, but so the ordinance that you're talking that we'd have to readopt, or you're talking about the change to
The public notice.
the notification. Oh, that's what I just want to make sure, yeah. Well, because what I would say again tonight is that you transmit it with what you currently have adopted, which you made the change 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago.
They don't want to transmit
That's
it.
right. Yeah, so if you want to look at the whole schedule again, then yes, you're going to have to wait.
I think, I'm just talking out loud. I think that we should, so that we get it right the first time.
If you want to do it.
Because I just understood that everything was 600 foot, and it's not.
And Mayor, real quick, can I chime in? Sorry to interrupt you. Just on the major site plans, I remember a little bit of that discussion going on. So generally, like when we have 2 developments coming through, so they're going to be bringing their site plans together with their PUDs, with their zoning. So they're going to be sent out 600 feet. And why they can do them separate, we tell them not to, because obviously the council is going to want to see what's going there, just not approve a PUD without a site plan that goes with it. And so those generally come together. So generally any major development would get approved. The downfall of the major site plan is like what you saw with Montverde Academy tonight. They have 1 lot, so basically the entire town would have to get notified under the major site plan approval when they bring something through. So it's at least just worth, we could definitely bring the ordinance back and bring it back for discussion. And I guess we can always if you transmit it, you can make some changes.
I think you could transmit in December if you wanted to, through your December council meeting. If that was the only question.
Send us the list so we could look at it, be more familiar.
Correct.
And then we could, in December meeting, correct it.
Yeah, it'd be good to transmit it. If that's your only question, then we can get that clarified. It means you might have to change the ordinance you did a couple months ago, and that's fine. And then we'll transmit it. I would like to get it in. They, of course, did a lot of the hard work, but we do want to get it to DCA, and you will have another crack at it. They may have some comment. I keep saying DCA. They no longer exist either. It's community planning at the state of Florida, in the Department of Commerce. So they'll come back with some comments, and then you'll have an adoption hearing as well.
So, Mayor, I'll send out, per your request, let me send out that ordinance to all the council members. If you guys could look at it, then get a hold of me and kind of let me know what your thoughts are. Then I can advise Anita how to change that ordinance for the next council meeting if you guys want it changed. At least you can have a feel for what you want to do there. And
I'd like to look at the 600 foot too. I think that's a little.
That's what I'm talking about, the 600 foot ordinance.
That's expensive. That's really way too much. So.
It is, I mean, we've sent a couple mailings out, and it really, I mean, it's doubled the cost, but sometimes tripled the amount of mailings. I think, Lisa, you're mailing, so it has been burdensome for the property owners and staff.
Much larger job.
If you could consider that 600, so when we come back with what we want to get, everybody get a notice on and how far we want it to do it. 600 is a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and again, the discussion was a couple months ago, do you want to, is 600 feet a longer distance, is an okay distance for something major like a Osgood? Is it, is 600 feet, but 600 feet is probably not appropriate for the Montverde Academy making a little change to the building. Or Joe, the homeowner that needs to get something, a site plan, or somebody down here in the business district.
So maybe have 2 different ones. I'm sorry?
Up the street, be within that 600 feet, you'd have to be notified, right?
Which one?
The variance?
Yeah.
That was a variance. So we're going to go off of, what is the current
The
standard?
variance received 300 foot notices.
Yeah, so the variances still require 600, 300. We didn't change that to
So why
600.
don't we go home, we'll get the list, and then
Yeah.
why don't we classify by ourselves what we want, say at 450 feet, and what we want at 600 feet. How's that?
You just need to look at consensus circles.
But how's that? We
See,
give
we're talking about 2,000
two different numbers.
150 people.
Yeah, you know, if we're saying 300 is too little, so why don't we go up to 450 for something that somebody's doing to their house? And just pick the things that you're reading and put a number by them. Would that make sense?
It does. I just want to let the council know, just because it's in our land development code, that we'll have to go back. Anything you decide will then have to go back to the planning and zoning, then back to council, plus we have to do the business impact study. So it's probably close to a 90-day process possible to get through, which is okay if that's what you want to do. I don't know what our deadline is for the comp plan, but I assume we can always make a change later, can't we, on the comp plan?
It's not necessary that this be in the comp plan either.
Oh, really?
No, you could take it out.
We could take the language out, and then you only regulate it by ordinance.
Yeah,
There we go.
Take it
Yeah.
out and submit it.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll do that.
We're ready to submit it, but take it out.
That's up to you, but we can do that as well. We could take that out. That would just, you would need to make that as part of the
And then
motion.
we don't have to
tonight.
worry about changing it.
That would make it
As far as
easy.
the state, we'll change it.
And then you have plenty of time to change it. Yeah.
We can do it in January.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes, let's do it.
Do we need a motion, Anita?
When you approve the ordinance, just make it with that amendment that we remove those distance for public notice. We
Can you-
remove them.
Would you
You
mind
want the
saying it?
motion?
If you make the motion, somebody would.
So you could make a motion that says to approve and transmit ordinance 2024-41 with the amendment to remove any references to public notice distance requirements.
Okay, so we make the motion, say the,
This is a public,
say,
open to the public.
you guys want to talk about anything? Or you want to go home?
All right, super. I make a motion that we pass 2024-41, amended as,
Anita said.
it'll come in just a moment, with nothing spoken about, written about the distances and or notification in the.
Did that work, Anita?
Yes, perfect, thank you.
Good job.
I'll second that.
Got first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Nays have it, I mean, ayes have it.
Before we close, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to say two things. Lisa, I'm glad we did the 600 because I hated for you to lick all those envelopes. That's just, and Miss April Fisher, it's good to have you here. I know you weren't introduced, but you have part of Sean's team. You put a lot of work in, both of you. So, you know, you just keep making Sean looking better and better. So.
They do, and you'll
But I want to say thank you publicly to the two of you for your work.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job on the planning zoning.
Do you want us?
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Nay.
You want us to take them home, or do you want
Ayes
to
have
redo
it.
them?
Yeah, leave it.
Sorry. You interfere with your thought process.
Joe, you weren't, you need to be in on the, somebody has to always vote no to not adjourn, against adjourning.
You too, I hope you feel better.